I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to start off by introducing our two new members. Everybody knows Doug, but we don't all know Jeff. Jeff, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and what your experiences are? Oh, Mike is here.
Sorry, me really.
You said you weren't going to be here.
I did?
Yeah. You said you had a conflict this week, but that's all right. Go ahead, Jeff.
My name's Jeff Dittmer. I live on Lyons Road, which is below the golf course. Married 22 years, father of 4. I've owned multiple businesses. I'm one now, what else to say?
Welcome aboard. Okay, first thing we'll do is a roll call. Doug Teagarden.
Present.
Jeff Dittmeyer. Present. Kathy.
Yes.
I'm here. Bob.
Present.
Judy.
Here.
Jerry.
Yes.
I have a change to the agenda. I made a mistake on the very last page. Right at the top where it says, public comment as pertains to zoning ordinance, that and motion to approve just need to be reversed. Just flip them around.
Wait, what?
You can't,
But,
you can't vote.
I just got to argue that I have to.
No, you have to, before you vote on it, you have to have public comment.
What are you doing? I'm sorry, I missed that.
You have to have the you need to, you have the
Well, that's what I
motion.
said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not vote on it.
Oh, no, I said, okay, maybe I'm just mistaken. At any rate, we're switching public comment with motion to approve.
Take the
Motion
motion and
first,
then take
And
comment.
then take comment. Thank
Wait a minute, I'm so confused.
you. The last page.
The last page.
Top page where it says public comment as it pertains to zoning ordinance.
Okay.
We should do the motion to approve the planning and zoning ordinance and return to supervisor for further action before we take public comment.
Above.
So we're making a motion to do that for. I was still trying to figure out the new initials, so I'm still trying to.
40.
And we're not necessarily in proper seating order either, but that's all right. Kathy was sick, so that changed all that.
Wait, are we doing that before the approval of the minutes?
No. I was just announcing the change before we got to the ordinance.
He's gone.
Okay.
Now we're going to the
He's gone
approval
already.
of minutes.
Hope you were.
Approval of the minutes for April 25th, 2017. Motion to approve them. Someone want to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I have a question on the motion, or on the minutes.
Go ahead.
On number 2, it doesn't say who made the motion or who second for the variance for Dave.
Setback variance for Dave Ely.
Oops, sorry about that. Larry Lee Rogers and seconded by J.D. Noble. Sorry, if you want to fill that in. I missed it.
So the motion was by me and the second was by Jody Noble. A letter from code enforcement officer should be redone. I think it's in the folder here in the front, Jerry.
You
I
are,
don't know. Do we need to read it?
I said, do you want to read it out loud, or?
Thank you.
Everybody come up and see it afterwards if they care to. Anything else? Okay. Now I have a motion to approve the minutes of April 25th. Huh?
I wasn't here, so I don't want to make the motion.
I'll move.
Thank you, Jody. Second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Kathy wasn't, let me see, Doug wasn't here yet. Jeff wasn't here yet. Kathy was absent. I approve him. I gotta go last. That doesn't matter. Bob? Yes. Jody?
Yes.
Jerry?
Hey Lee,
Yes.
the way this is worded, it's incorrect.
Boy, what word?
If you want to cover, as far as the
where it says further action required. 110-22 modification statement, 50-foot setback, one corner's 33 feet and 145 feet. As we discussed, the setback is from the right-of-way, not the center of the road, and he said those are the measurements for the center of the road. Once again, still the same issue. Once again, I have no problem with approving it, but you need to do it right, because you're gonna set a precedence since he's a supervisor moving
What
forward.
does it say on that? Okay, just a second. What does it say on his letter, Jerry?
It is my finding that the structure is still a significant distance from the roadway, 33 feet at the closest distance and 45 feet from the farthest distance.
Okay, but he doesn't discuss where it was measured from.
It says from the roadway, that's what he said, that's what it said.
Oh,
It says road, he says roadway in this letter.
okay.
Um,
In previous discussion, at the previous meetings, it was stated that was from the center of the road, which is not correct. And again, no problem, no issue, approve it, but word it.
It's already approved, JD. It's already, it was approved by this board and by the supervisor. Now it's just trying to get the minutes right.
Well, that's,
So I don't think this is a problem. I think the motion to approve a modification of 110, of section 110-22D subsection A, building lines from current right-of-way setback to 15 feet. I think that's the only thing we want to make sure is correct, is what Mr. Ely requesting is 15 feet from the edge of the right-of-way, not from the edge of the roadway. Is that going to be sufficient to meet his new building requirements?
It's already approved, Michael.
Yeah,
I understand, but from a wording standpoint, that, we would just wanna make sure is 15 feet from the right-of-way is what this is reading. So that, down the road, it says you were given a, what I'm saying is that this is a modification. So you wanna have a record,
Then
To
why
look
don't you
back on.
suggest the language?
no, I'm okay with this language if that's correct. Is the 15 feet from the right-of-way, is that sufficient for is that sufficient for you to meet it?
I measured it from center of the road,
Okay,
so.
so I've been to the site, and 15 foot is sufficient, because I was there with Mark, and there's plenty of view. It's not gonna block the view of the road. The road is straight at that point. So even pulling out of Dave's driveway, the building will not obstruct your view as you're pulling out.
so would a 15-foot setback from the right-of-way be sufficient?
Yes.
Okay, so then that's what that's what the minutes are stating. That you're modifying it to 15 feet setback from the right of way. It's not saying, the minutes do not say roadway.
Yeah, if you remember last meeting, the original request was for greater than that. I mean, it was like 30 feet or something. And then we reduced it to 15 feet to measure it from the right of way as opposed to
From the center,
measuring
whether-
it from the center of the
Yeah.
road or the edge of the road.
Yeah, so as long as that's sufficient, if that modification does what it needs to do, you're okay.
Any other problem, any other discussion? We've already voted on it, it's already passed, so we can move on then.
Yeah.
New business, new campground in Claysville for Chuck Ely. Chuck? What do you have, bro? What do you have? You wanna tell us what you're doing?
Yeah. I can't hear what you're saying, Lee.
I didn't think so. You wanna explain to us what you're doing?
You have the drawing there for the
No, I don't.
layout, where all of it.
Nope, not here.
And I submitted a drawing,
Yeah,
With the-
Tammy told me you submitted it wrong.
yeah. Well anyways, it's off the, where you go under Bell Avenue Bridge by the interstate bridge. Make a right to the double gate, goes out onto the property that I own there, which had the Tri-State Storage Building at one time and was removed August the 6th, 2015. And there's a concrete pad there, 20 by 80 where the building was. And I had a gentleman ask me just recently if they could probably put some trailers on there, 2 of them, which is all I'm asking for.
Chuck, does it have city water there?
The water is available from the front and the sewage is available. from
They have
the
both
back.
water and sewer.
Yes. The electric is there.
And it's back off the road, so.
Yeah, that's.
I know your site, I've been there.
Did it that way.
Yeah.
I've seen the site, so I don't have a problem.
I move we approve it.
Anybody else? Any other discussion? May I have a second?
Did she give you the application for the review, or fill that out, the application for the campground?
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I guess that's what, was that what I was filling out?
Well, it'll come to the board.
And I turned the drawing in, I could have brought another.
I'm familiar with the site.
Yeah. That was a detailed sketch. All the things that you could have on the property. All right, thank you.
Okay, again, we have to have a roll call vote for acceptance. Kathy?
Yes.
Jody? Jody?
Hold on, Michael. look-
Just, is this a new campground that falls under the?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's
okay.
it. Campground.
I mean, without seeing that, or
Yeah,
is it the
can-
testimony
can we
that
access
you,
that?
I guess I would say that I would have a hard time suggesting you guys approve that sight unseen. I mean, you could approve it subject to,
Yes.
okay, that's what I would say. Yeah,
Review.
confirmation that the plans,
Is
as
it in the
submitted.
office? Can we get it from the office?
Dave, you must give it there. I've not seen it.
Or we could just do it now.
You know, just because there are a list of regulations here and standards that need to be complied with, not saying that it doesn't, but without seeing it, I would recommend it, at the very least, your motion is not you know, you make the recommendation subject to confirmation that it does meet those standards.
I was, Amy told me today that she had the drawing.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but she's not available. She's a family emergency situation.
I think they found it. Thank you. These all came in late, well, not all of them, but two of these did, and most of us didn't get a chance to come down and look at these. We've been trying to preview these before we get to the meeting and get this kind of things taken care of. This one and Mr. Planson's was not reviewed before.
That's 50 feet. I'm just looking right now.
Boy, is this is access for,
Yeah, this is 50 feet of the street, right?
He
Oh,
needs more than 50 feet.
It's way more than 50 feet.
Yeah, that road beside it is not a public house, not a public street.
Driveway come around the interstate, Jody, run up 2 feet. Keep going.
Doug, while we're reviewing that, I got an unrelated question. I don't know whose job that is to do the sign out front. But why don't we post, like, you got the supervisor meeting on Memorial Day, right? Why don't they post the planning commission meetings as
You know,
well?
when you guys have a chance to sit
They could probably.
Do you think that'd be a good idea?
It looks
They
okay,
probably
but
propose it, I don't have any, I mean,
I'm
that's,
going through all these and then.
if they have available time, that's when they take care of it,
So
so.
within regulation, Mike?
Why, we'll find out, I'll find out if they can.
Yeah, I mean, they do at the same time, they have a meeting.
It looks like it is, I still think you should make the motion subject to final review, since as you said, it came in late, and you guys haven't had a full chance. But yeah, based on that, it looks okay, but I would still make it subject to final review.
How about subject to review of the,
Pardon me, I'll be glad to answer any questions or anything that you have about that, or point out anything that you have a question about.
Chuck, come on back up. What questions do you have?
I don't, I'm just saying that there are, this is a 5-page section of the campground, and just looking at that, it's hard to say, I don't wanna say, without looking through all this, that it's you stamp it for approval. So I think just in your testimony that you guys haven't had a chance, everyone hasn't had a chance to look at it, I would just say that it looks okay, but, you would just do it subject to final confirmation.
About 2.5 acres of ground there.
We could look at it between now and the township meeting.
Sure.
And be ready to go in the township meeting and,
Yeah.
That'll be fine.
It's only 2 trailers.
Any questions?
Is there an ingress and an egress, or are they the same?
You're okay with approving it subject to approval?
I have no
If it comes
comment.
back,
No, it'd be
once
done
it's
right.
on review and there's an issue, then your approval would not be granted. You have to come
Looks
back
like
and
there's an
either
access
amend it
road coming
or answer the questions.
that goes in the park.
Small
Right
Creek.
down to the park.
That was the original road in the park,
Yeah.
10 years ago.
I don't know how you guys typically do it. I'm
Yeah, there, that's
I
where it
guess I don't know
was,
what
yeah.
your common practice are. What I'm saying is that.
That's where I'd like to.
There's
put
one
that.
at
If you
either
guys
end.
wanna-
Okay, well, I know that was one of the, I assume with 2 acres, there's not
There's
50.
an access
Yeah.
on Small Creek and an access on East Finley Drive.
Yeah,
but you're in the code book, right?
yeah.
Without measurements.
550
I have it separate.
Okay, so then that meets the setback.
Yeah, you just, there's water, there's,
I don't think you get
water
any.
line goes down here, and there's
Yeah, I see that.
one here, and one here, and it crosses my property. So this is kind of, there's more distance here than what I agree with.
So you're gonna put them on existing concrete pad?
Yeah. Where the village was sitting for about 16 years, something like that.
I talked to your wife. Put me in.
Are there 2 points of this?
Yes.
There are, okay. Yeah, I mean, again, it looks like it's fine.
Well, I mean, does it make sense then just to recommend it conditional upon compliance with chapter 23?
Yeah.
But I said, why don't we just review that now? There's what's the point of us each coming here individually and then having them, how do we vote? That's what I said, we have to-
So you've done it conditional and somebody has to be responsible for verifying that
Yeah.
they
That's
why I
met
said,
those
why don't we just-
conditions.
Well, the
Under it now.
code, the code officer
And
could
this
do
is.
that.
Yeah, typically.
This
Typically, we have a letter or something from the code officer confirming it meets all these. You guys would review that and say, I got a question, I got an issue. And typically, that's how it goes. But like I said, I don't know how you guys, you said sometimes you come, I don't know how you guys handle
Well,
We can amend it. I can amend my motion to state what Jody said, make sure that it be in compliance with that ordinance.
Yeah.
As subject to review of the code officer.
Did you hear all that, Chuck? Did you hear what was just said? No. Okay. We're gonna have the code officer come out, make a review, and then, as he's been doing, bring us a letter approving it, and then that would go before the township.
That's good.
Okay?
Yep, fine, thank you.
We're gonna vote on it.
So that guy's gonna send us, still vote on
it.
it.
Yeah, exactly, yep.
I gotta read my motion first. Do we say, inspection by the code enforcement officer or building?
Code enforcement. Ordinance enforcement.
The ordinance enforcement? Okay, so the motion is to approve campground plan upon inspection by ordinance enforcement officer that it meets all specifications of chapter 23.
I'm supposed to do that.
Question.
Question?
Yeah. These are not permanent structures, right?
Right, it's
Camper.
temporary.
Right?
Yep.
What's the procedure? Why is it before this meeting?
Yeah, it falls under our domain. Another thing we're trying to do is get all the dots and Ts crossed where they belong. And it came up, we want to review this or not, and we decided, yes, we would. I said, yes, we would, and this is why. We're going through these motions.
Well, I'm just trying to,
Yeah, that's why we're doing it, Ed. Because
for temporary structures, for temporary,
it still falls under land usage, it still falls under, subdivisions and mobile home parks and everything. So it's not, it's not unusual, or it's no problem with taking these steps to make sure it's correct. Make sure it meets.
he's not subdividing.
No, but it's land usage.
It's a review and a recommendation to the supervisor, is what it is. They're not approving it. They don't approve it.
It's our job to try to put the best foot forward, or best thing forward as it goes on to the township for their review. If we cross all the Ts and dot them here, then they have a better chance of, again, it goes right back to what JD's been talking about all the time, that we try to make sure that we, don't leave ourselves open to any kind of, lawsuit.
Well, I understand that, but really all you would be concerned with would be the setback. And he fills out, I'm just saying, for any other citizen that wants to do this, they could come in here, get the app, or go online and get the application for campground permit, file the paperwork, and that's it.
We want to make sure they're hooked into the sewage? You don't want
Make
that
sure the
running on
sewage
the ground?
available, make sure there's water available.
Yeah, but it was defined by our attorney that we only deal with subdivisions.
Yeah.
In our last meeting.
Yeah.
It just
And land
required,
Well,
and
it's
they all have.
I brought
tanks
that up and
anyway.
you said no.
It's already
No,
illegal to
the
run
way
sewage out on the
land
ground.
development, you just didn't understand the way it was defined.
Okay, but the water storage tanks was the whole thing that brought it up.
Because that doesn't fall under land development.
But like Eddie's saying, though, it's a concrete pad that's already there, and you're just sitting 2 trailers on it, just like what if they were water tanks?
Well, water tanks don't fall under that.
Okay.
That's the problem, it's so gray that it's hard to make.
No, I mean, again, if you look right at the section, it talks about such land development plan shall include the location of, it talks about submitting a land development plan. And it references the Donegal Township subdivision land development ordinance. It's my understanding that the planning commission, Donegal, oversees that.
Correct.
There are different steps for different townships on how it's set up, on, who you go in front of, where you go in front of. In Donegal, subdivision land development, things that fall under that, is part of the planning commission, is one of the steps that you have to go through. The way that is subdivision land development is defined, the water storage tanks did not fall under that definition, therefore it didn't have to go through planning commission review.
So then the question is, why does the campers fall under?
Yeah.
I'm just going by, I'm looking at
He's not developing.
You're looking at 110-7?
no, I'm looking at chapter 23
23-5.
of the code. It talks about the campground plan that has to be submitted, and it's submitted subject to the Donegal Township subdivision land development ordinance.
But when you go to the land development ordinance, it has a group of 2 or more buildings or a subdivision or allocation of land.
This says such land development plan shall include the location of all streets, roads, campsites.
That's
utilities,
part of that
services.
ordinance.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just reading specifically from here, that's the township ordinance right here.
And the campground ordinance, that's part of it. We voted on this motion.
No.
I call for a vote.
So maybe, Chairman.
Wait a minute, not everybody was done yet.
So,
I believe that you're going to find that you're talking about sewerage and so forth. There is a statute on the state level that if this is used for a campground, and it's also used anything dealing with the Marcellus gas, that they are allowed to put temporary holding tanks and so forth in. They don't have to have sewerage as
There's a state law. There's a state law that does regulate campgrounds as well as they.
Yeah, no,
as a
But,
township
but Bob's,
But they, I think he's correct. I think they do permit all the tanks.
So you can't just look at him and say, well, you gotta have sewerage, you got, depends on what he's doing.
I don't think we said that.
I'm not going against you, John. I'm just saying that
Yes,
I do know that's part of it. There's a lot of things involved that
Every state park in this state, you can park a camper there and you don't hook up to the sewage.
right.
The campers by nature have a tank. It's already illegal to open that valve and run it out on the ground.
True.
So I don't know.
But in this instance, people are gonna be living there for an extended length of time.
Public water and sewage, the public sewage is available, you have, and within so many feet, you have to take it.
Of a permanent resident.
If
Even the
it's there,
temporary residents.
if it's there, if you got public sewage there, I would be hard.
All
pressed
these
to say no.
campgrounds that are built up and down 40 and everything else, they're hooked up to public, water and hooked up to public sewage. Because nobody wants to have to pull their camper up and bolt up everything and go clear down here to the rest area on 70 to dump their RV. They want to stay right there and hook it up, so. Yes,
They do have, people that come around like the Portage John people.
Oh,
that
yeah.
pump
They have
up-
people that
pump
come
out
around
their
and say,
tanks,
yeah.
they're self-contained.
Yeah.
What is our definition in our ordinance that designates a campground?
One or more campers,
One or more?
one or more,
So any,
any, that's correct,
one camper designates a campground.
that's correct.
But they're not all treated the same.
Give us some examples.
Well, the gun ranges, when they come in and they do, their people come in with their campers, they're not the same as
Meadowlands Sports.
Meadowlands Sportsman's Club.
What about the fair?
You want them treated the same? You want to go on record to say you want them treated the same?
No, I'm just
No,
asking.
I'm asking you a question, do you want to go on record?
You wanted an answer and I'm.
Would you like for them, would you like to see them in compliance?
Well, you said any and all, and that's not necessarily
They've been
true.
exempted, and as is Meadowlands Sportsman's Club, because they're temporary, they're in there and out of there, they're weekends or whenever.
Hey Chuck, do you have an idea how long they're gonna be there? They told you?
No, few months.
Wasn't it something about 6 months or something?
Call for a motion call for a vote on the motion on the floor.
I agree. Call for vote, Doug Teagarden,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Kathy,
Yes.
I'm a yes, Bob,
Yes.
Jody,
Yes.
Jerry.
Yes.
Moving on. Review of campground permit for George Plants.
Me,
Pardon?
me.
So I understand you somehow slipped through the crack and you didn't get a chance to get it renewed, George, is that right?
I didn't know you had to if you didn't have a camper on there.
I don't know.
I didn't
I don't
know
know either.
about it.
Yes, it expires at the end of the year.
It's practically,
Yeah, and you're given the time frame to,
so as long as you have a campground.
as long as the end of the year, it may be the end of January, but there's a time frame.
So if you have a campground, you have to keep.
You have a campground, regardless of whether there's any campers, you have to renew. If you don't renew, it goes through the whole process again.
So what is the do, just go okay it and go on, already paid the fee.
Yeah, what else does he have to do? It's already been approved
Yeah.
once.
Is his permit application there that we're supposed to review?
I really don't know. That's why it's here.
I mean, I would say if he's already granted approval and if it's his testimony that no changes are being altered.
Yeah, as long as it's the same as the first application, I have no
Yeah, if he's not
problem.
applying for any changes, then there wouldn't be anything, you just have to.
I had a trailer on there for a couple, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah, he's already paid his,
Yeah. I
Fee?
already paid it.
he's got his drawing here, nothing's changed.
You want it renewed, or you gonna put other campers on it?
I don't know, I get one.
He has a picture of where the campground's
Or you rent it to
located.
somebody?
I just
Oh,
got
that's his? That's his?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying,
That's what I was
the camper,
asking.
the
Oh,
putting an order
sorry.
in for you or someone else to rent it out?
somebody else.
Oh, okay. If it's yours, that's a
I
different
would-
story.
I would move that we grant his application,
I might end up doing that.
inasmuch as there are, it is the same as the last application. As long as they're the same.
Is your address 9/6th Street?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
The same as before, no changes. Okay. As for vote, Doug DeGarden?
Second.
And we
Oh, I'm
didn't have our
sorry.
discussion
Sorry.
yet.
I've asked some discussion.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I need 1 second to read that.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jerry.
Jeez.
That's our review sheets. You forgot again.
I've never even saw one of these before.
Yeah, I sent out an email, so.
I didn't get that one. What's today's date?
23rd, still is 1/3.
Right. And he should get full.
You have to review it and then put your initials on it.
That's the last.